I got a question from Nuts on firesidechat.com. Come on, man. I make about $100,000 in take-home income every year. I don't have any debt, and I'm trying to save $50,000 in cash for the down payment of my first house. Should I reduce my contributions to my 401k, IRA, or HSA so I can save $50,000 by the end of this year? Right now, I have $20,000 in cash, and I'm maxing out my IRA, HSA, and 401k. Okay. Nuts, or whatever your real name is, you have done a great job so far, so you need to save $30,000 more to have $50,000 in down payment for your first home. Something you didn't mention was how much of that cash is set aside in your emergency fund. So I would first make sure to have cash or some liquidity set aside in a separate savings account that can cover at least 3 to 6 months in expenses in your emergency fund. My rule of thumb is if I'm the only source of income, then I would save 6 months of expenses. And if I'm in a dual income household, then I would save 3 months of expenses. Once you have your emergency fund set aside, and let's just say you have that and you have $20,000 saved so far for your first home, you're maxing out your 401k at $20,500, HSA at $3,650 or $7,300 if you're married, and IRA at $6,000. I'm going to assume that you're single because you didn't mention you're married in the forum. If I add them all up, and that's $30,150, and that's 30% of your take-home income at $100,000, or probably about 25% of your gross income, assuming you make $100,000 a year in gross. Here's what I would do if I were in your shoes. And by no means this is financial advice. And I would contribute to my 401k up to the employer match, max out my IRA and HSA, and not max out my 401k. And for me, I would still want to save at least 15% of my income towards retirement at the bare minimum. So the dollars I put in today will be worth a lot more 20 or 30 years from now. And I would temporarily pause on maxing out my 401k until I have $50,000 cash set aside for my first home. Let's say my 401k up to the employer match is 6% or $6,000 a year. HSA is $3,650 and IRA at $6,000. Then that's about 15% of my income going towards my retirement. If your income remained the same at $100,000 a year, then you should be able to achieve that $50,000 goal by the end of this year. So if you want to get there even faster, then I would recommend picking up extra hours at your job and pick up a side hustle to save more money. Here's something else to remember to do after you buy your house. You should create a sinking fund for non-recurring expenses like car maintenance or repairs, and especially home repairs. So as soon as you move into the house, you're gonna have some repairing to do, and as well as appliances, medical expenses, travel, or Christmas gifts. So sinking funds are really, really helpful in that situation. My wife and I created several sinking funds so that we always have cash set aside to travel or buy birthday presents or Christmas presents. And you can check out the video I made about how to budget for your regular expenses, and I will put the link in the description below.